welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for Amazon's original series Mirzapur Season 2. This season takes us to a land beyond Mirzapur, a place where it has its own set of violent and powerful families running illegal businesses. The women of Mirzapur have become bolder and more complex. They will not hesitate in using any means to achieve their goals. Who will win in the end? Is there anyone left to challenge the tripaths? If you're a fan of this series, then no doubt you would have stayed up late as soon as the midnight clock went midnight and Amazon released all their episodes, unlike Netflix, who do it like randomly at 8 o'clock or whatever time. But as soon as it's a new day, we have a new season, and I'm sure if you're a massive fans, you will be binging this, so you most probably have seen it already. Firstly, I should say thank you to Amazon for some of the screeners. We managed to watch them and then catch up, and so now we're there. I should say, if you're watching this review, this is Season 2, so there will be spoilers for Season 1, so bear that in mind. In Game of Thrones, there was this massive episode called The Red Wedding, which left people heartbroken and upset and angry. Much the same with Season 1, the last episode of Season 1, where we had the wedding scene. And those events where people got massacred. It was a massacre on both sides, really. We had protagonists die that we weren't expecting to die. We had protagonists survive that we weren't expecting to survive. Needless to say, it was vicious. That was the thing that I found most difficult about the first season. The whole premise of this series is it's proper drama. It's like EastEnders drama, a soap drama. People are backstabbing everybody, everybody's betraying everybody, families are betraying each other, there are spies in every organization. Nobody is really trustworthy. It seems like the people that you thought were most trustworthy in the end will not be. And it's true fashion soap dialogue as well. And so we have that. And that would be fine if it wasn't for the complete mayhem in violence. And it's gory. I mean, like, seriously gory. If you remember the penis scene from Season 1, that is how gory it is. So I wasn't really taken by the first season. And then we have some of the cinematography issues. I do have to say that I feel like Season 2, in my opinion, is better. It does drag out in certain points, but it's the complex story and the characters that you follow that is really interesting to me. So it is a grand epic story of families betraying each other, of people trying to get revenge. It all spawns from that 10th episode where people are just rife with anger. And so we have the one family that is just taken over by anger, no matter who he falls in love with, no matter who they fall in love with, or who they have in their pathway, no matter who they will hurt in their pathway. It's a complete revenge story for the most part. That's the driving arc for Season 2. Obviously, then we have a new canvas for some new areas and some new faces. There are gonna be twists and turns that you're not expecting, as you've probably come to expect in this series. The 10th episode, I would say that it doesn't finish with quite a bang as Season 1 did, but I will give you a little top tip. Do not switch off the episode when the credits start rolling. There's an interesting scene at the end of the credits, so do bear that in mind. You'll need to watch it because it gives you a clue as to what's going to happen in Season 3. There are protagonists in this that I really felt for. I feel like this whole series is people making wrong decisions, bad choices, but they thrust into areas where they can only make bad decisions. So when you have decisions that are bad on either way, and it's a life or death thing, then it's really hard decisions to make. And so you have these conundrum themes that are always playing with your character. So you want them to choose the right thing, but you also don't know what is the right thing. And that is a really nice play for a story that is so dark and so depressing at times. There is some levity in this. I found that a little bit different in pace compared to the first season. There's a couple of characters that are actually quite humorous and quite funny, and it brings a levity, but I felt like we needed more of that because this series is seriously dark for most of the time. Everybody has guns, everybody's shooting each other, it's violent and over the top. I would say that some of my negatives are that some of the camera work seems to be a bit off, and I don't know if that's the actual camera work, but all the actual camera. There is too much grain at night. I've never complained about the actual camera on anything before, but it's normal to get some grain at night, but it's not normal to get a hell of a lot of grain at night. So it feels like they've used either a wrong lens or wrong camera that isn't great at filming at low light. It's a weird thing to be complaining about, but it's something that I kept on noticing. And the day shots as well. You get that oversaturated white light from the sun that seemed like the ISO needed to be changed. But these guys are fantastic at what they do. So it was a surprise to me that those were a couple of the issues I had. And that's just on the technical levels. The score, the acting, the editing, it's all very well edited. It feels like it's fast paced, even when they're dragging out the story a bit. The way it's shot, the way it's edited, I feel like the pacing is quite good. There are times when certain episodes dragged out, and I even feel like because it's 10 episodes, you could have probably combined it to make it 8 episodes rather than having those long look moments. The characters definitely do that when they've released some information to the audience, some kind of like they're dropping the hammer. There's a lot of these, these still looks where the character looks off into the distance and the camera will just stay on them for 2 or 3 awkward seconds, and it feels like that happens a lot in this series, that you could have just shaved that off and just cut into the next scene. I do feel like it's part of the culture. So there's a lot of stuff that is culture relevant. So the way that women aren't allowed to talk at certain times, that always irks me. I was like, women have equal rights and equal measures to talk whenever, but it's definitely part of the culture. And they play on that in this series, which I think is great. They don't ignore it. So you see the female protagonists, which I feel like are the outstanding actors in season 2 particularly, that are so strong, used to their characters are built up. And so we get this whole kind of story where we see the female protagonist stepping out into more power than I guess that you would see in culture like this, which I thought was excellent. It was really nice to see how that played in the topsy-turvy dynamics of, if you're a man and another man is speaking, then women shouldn't speak. There is that dynamic a lot. And so as we see women come to power, or women in the background controlling everything, that is a lot of fun. The story is really interesting and has multifaceted layers, just like season 1, but it feels like it's even more complex now because the world is bigger, even though many people are dying along the way in very torturous ways. Sometimes it's just brutal. I feel like that's what's the most awkward thing about this series, is that even when you get the brutal violent scenes where people need to be killed, or they feel like now's the time they're going to take someone out, when you get to that bit, if someone's hacking somebody up with a knife or stabbing them, the camera for a large majority of the time doesn't actually just cut away. You will see it. They'll have, I guess, a prosthetic bit of makeup, and you'll see the stab, and you'll see the bullet shot, and you'll see the blood spatter and spray, which I guess is quite violent, which is unusual. There is a little issue I have with some of the blood. A lot of the time you'll notice how really red it is, like bright red. It almost looks like paint makeup. And my TV is completely set to cinematic mode, so it shouldn't be standing out like that. And then other times people will get stabbed or shot and there'll just be this little dribble. I just felt like at times the prosthetic makeup wasn't as sharp as it should be when it comes to specifically the blood packs. So I've been really specific with the things that were like different or just kind of stood out to me that weren't quite right. Camera and low light and blood packs. But apart from that, everything else is fantastic. I think you'll enjoy it, but it won't have that same impact that the 10th episode had, or that the last episode had in season 1. This one, it leaves you feeling a bit uneasy as to the future. We're definitely going to get a season 3 by the looks of the story. There is a complex, complete arc for a particular character, so it's all about who's going to be sitting on the throne, who's going to control, who's going to have the power, and we see, because of that, deals being had in the shadow, in the background all the time, until people start getting taken out. And that is the complexity of this series. It's a lot of fun if you can handle the gore and some of the slow pacing at times, but when the action gets going, man, it's brutal. It's not like choreographed martial arts either. It's just people shooting the heck out of each other, stabbing each other. It's angry. It's an angry series, which is why I'm so grateful for some of the levity that comes. I really feel like we need more of that, because It's dark, angry, sad, and brutal. That is this series. If you like the first season, I think you're gonna love this one. I preferred this one. Let me know in the comments. I'm gonna give this a B plus. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought about this. But until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.